Well, Sir Galahad won't be here tonight, but I am here. Yes, me, myself, and I, and the man on the phone waiting to be introduced, just like Ed McMahon from The Tonight Show. My name is Bill Miksch. I am president of WDMA Financial Group in Grayslake, Illinois, where we represent clients in 16 states around the corner, around the area, around the country, I should say, around the country. And the byline that we like to talk about is we protect your life, we protect your health, we preserve your wealth, and guarantee an income for the rest of your life. And I couldn't say it if it weren't true. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. But without further ado, the man, the legend, the way of life, the man that everybody resonates to when he walks into a room, Sean Hauser.
If resonate means walking out the other door in the room, that's true. But how are you, Bill? Thanks for the intro.
Oh, you're welcome, Sean. It's always an impromptu intro. There is nothing scripted when I've done your intros. It is, what am I going to say right now?
Well, that's for sure. No.
I'm good. I needed as I was walking in, it's been a very interesting, tough couple of weeks at the agency. So this past Friday, Sally had a girls' night out. So between 5:30 and 6:45, I'm sitting in the office. I'm playing a little guitar and kind of moping. Do I go to open mic? Don't I go to open mic? Did I practice enough? Did I not? And like, the heck with it. It's open mic. Nobody cares.
Right.
So I went. And surprisingly, I got a lot of very positive feedback. I went Facebook Live. So if you look up my name, Bill, Miksch, on Facebook, you'll see Billy D playing at a local venue in Antioch for about a half hour. And
wow.
I did some of my own material. I started out doing a John Denver tune, and that went pretty well. And then I did a couple of mine, and then I did Peaceful Easy Feeling by the Eagles, Sean. And
good song.
I love this song, and I know it very well, but you wouldn't know it if you saw me play it. So I'm singing the first verse, and I'm getting through it. My brain's going, there is nothing coming for the second verse. Zero. I completely had a brain fog moment. So I went right to the third verse. And then I did a little instrumental, and then I finished. And then I kind of smiled and chuckled, and I said, well, so much for that second verse, but it's open mic. It's not like people are paying $50 or $100 cover to get in to see a show. You know, it's all an experiment. And then I did House of the Rising Sun the way I like to do it. And I started out with the traditional way, and then I went into a rock mode, and then I finished in a traditional way. And the manager of the store told me after, he's like, I really like the way you owned that song. That was your rendition, and that was really good. So I'm like, oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah. And then there was another guy that was there, very good guitarist, and if he could, and I'm not criticizing him, it's just something that I noticed, and I think we're all guilty of this when we're doing this kind of stuff. Enunciation and hearing the lyrics are really important. And opening your mouth and, you know, pushing it out there. And I'm guilty of it as anybody, especially if I'm doing a new song and I'm not terribly confident, or maybe I'm confident, but my vocals aren't where they need to be. And the one thing I noticed is that his music was really good. You couldn't hear the lyrics. And, but he got up there and did a really nice job as far as I was concerned. I mean, notwithstanding what I just said, because God knows we're all guilty of it. But then he asked if he could play with me. Like, yeah, knock yourself out. So that was kind of cool. But here's the funny part. I decided to do Puff the Magic Dragon, which I love that song, and I normally finger pick it. But he wanted to do lead guitar, and that was fine. So I went to strum, and again, brain fog, Sean, brain fog. I couldn't remember the beginning, let alone any other part of Puff. So I had to start. I looked at him, I'm like, Keith, I'm going to have to start with my finger picking. Do whatever you improvise the heck out of whatever you're going to do. Just follow me. And so I had to finger pick my way through until I could get my brain together, and then I got it together, and we made it through. But every time I do one of these, Sean, I learn a new lesson, and this lesson this time was practice, 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 practice.
Oh, so you're saying we need to practice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yes, and don't just do it one time and go, okay, I got this. No. Do it 100 times, and then you got this.
Yeah.
I know when I've done songs for weddings, and when I've prepared, I've done very well, very, very well. When I kind of did it halfway or thought I was good, but you could go the other direction on that. Then it was okay, but it could have been way better. So and I always talk about the Christmas song I did several years ago at our church. I knew the song cold, and the only time that the choir, the handbells, and the church band and I were all together was that take. It was the only time all of us together, that take. And it was a live performance. We had one shot at it, and I remember distinctly starting to listening to the choir as I'm getting into the second verse, and I forgot where I was at my guitar. So I literally just stopped playing guitar, and I kept going with the lyrics. And then I caught up, and it sounded like it was supposed to happen. And it wasn't. That was not supposed to happen, folks. I was supposed to play right through it. But now when I get to that, when I play that song, and I've done it a couple more times at our church, with mostly with the church band, I play right through it. I'm like, am I supposed to stop there? So how was your weekend?
It was really good. Can't say that I did a lot of anything of major importance. Did work around the house, that kind of thing. I did go see a Broadway, one of those touring Broadway companies, did Cher's story. So, Sonny and Cher.
Yep.
And I went with my wife and my sister, and we sat there, and, I didn't realize, the whole backstory with her and how she got, hooked up with Sonny and how everything is kind of ebb and flowed in her career. It was such a really well done presentation, not only from the music and the singing, but they had dancers, and then they had some, dramatic parts where they're telling the story, and it was incredible.
We saw a similar show to that. There's a Broadway show at the Marriott Lincolnshire about the Carole King story.
Okay.
And it was, I'm telling you, the singer who was the lead singer in this show sounded exactly like Carole King. And the woman was a genius. She was a musical genius. She was writing songs when she was, 12, 13, 14 years old. Maybe 15. But either way, she was writing as a youngster. And it was an incredible story. But she was also very much of a family person. She had a couple kids. Her spouse was also a songwriter. But they got married early. They had kids early, and then he got stupid with drugs and got involved with other women, et cetera, and that's when Carole King broke out of her shell. Is when she got separated from him. So, I'd be curious if Cher comes to Chicago. I'd probably want to see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was a great show.
so I mean, I remember growing up with the Sonny and Cher show, for example, and you know,
Oh yeah.
the commentary was also always Cher can sing, and what the heck is Sonny doing? You know.
They kind of told that story, that she was going to be, kind of the lead or the focal point, and then he was to be the the comedy. So, a lot of their jokes were about him being shorter, or him about not being the same musical talent, but the guy could sing, and that was the shtick, is they would play off each other like that. So.
Yep. Yeah. I do remember when he passed away. I think he was skiing. And
Yeah, he hit a tree.
Hit a tree. Yeah. So, and that was very sad.
They actually covered that. Covered that. She was having a bad moment in her career, and she was dating Greg Allman for a while, and then something happened, and she starts talking to Sonny, and then they flash up a picture of his gravestone on the screen behind her, and then you get this, she's having this conversation in her mind, but it was pretty amazing. I mean, I thought that it was really well done.
I always wondered whether or not I should have, doing what I'm doing, this musical thing, and being on stage and this and that. I always wonder if maybe I missed my calling, that maybe I should have gone into theater or whatever. But I wasn't thinking about that back then. But I enjoy getting up there and doing stuff like that. I'm also very self-conscious of what I'm doing. So I'm sure you can appreciate your own worst enemy is yourself, when you're doing that kind of stuff.
Well, I think we've both seen me try to sing in public, Bill, which didn't necessarily, couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. But, yeah.
Well, I understand. I understand. By the way, speaking of that, there was a song that I started singing on the show on Friday, and I had done like 3 or 4 songs already, and I started doing the 5th one, and I stopped halfway through the song. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is a music 101 no-no, but if I don't get a drink of water right now, my throat is going to be damaged. So I just stopped, and the problem that I had was the glass of water that I had with me, or the bottled water, was 3 steps away from a microphone. It's as close as I could get to it. It wasn't right at my fingertips, where in between songs I could do something. So just little subtle things like that is just a learning curve. And I sent a text to my guitar teacher, who's been traveling lately, and we're going to go see him on Saturday. And I just said, I got to get better at stage presence, and I need some work on this and that. And he said, whenever you're ready. So, so we'll see. Anyway, we're going to talk real quick. It's Super Bowl weekend. I want to give a shout-out, Sean, to my son, Ryan, who's a producer for Barstool. He just got hired about 6 weeks ago. Or actually
Right.
4 weeks ago. Yeah, he's pumped. Well, right now he is in Vegas doing the pre-Super Bowl stuff that Barstool is doing there. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and he is out of his mind. He's never been to Vegas before. He's in a suite in the MGM hotel. He's like, Dad,
Nice.
This hotel is gorgeous. Look at the view I got, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, have you made any money yet? He said, no, I haven't gambled yet. Just wait. So
Then he's made money.
oh, well,
There he is, not lost money.
yeah, right. Well, let's see how it goes. But he's, I just want to, and he's the guy, ladies and gentlemen, that uploads these shows up on Spotify and our website. So if you can't listen to the show, all of the shows that Sean and I've done from the beginning of time, or almost all of them, are up on Spotify and also up on my company website. So shout out to my son. He's doing a great job. I'm very proud of him. And then so last week, Sean, we were talking about the black hole of what a surviving spouse has to go through if she's not 60 years old,
Right.
because of Social Security benefits and the like. And how life insurance can play a humongous role in helping the surviving spouse maintain a lifestyle, particularly if she cannot get Social Security benefits, particularly if she is less than 59 and a half, where accessing the 401k can be a tax bomb. The life insurance becomes a huge deal, folks, in the planning for retirement. And I would go so far as to say it's not just covering the black hole, but the life insurance policy can actually help as a supplement to supporting your 401k or your IRAs, because, as you know, Sean, markets are volatile, and there's a lot of volatility right now in this stock market. We have 34, I mean, the discussions about the debt are starting to become more of a concern. We're at $34 trillion. I heard yesterday we're paying $1 trillion a year, Sean, just to support the debt. Just the interest is $1 trillion a year. Let me see, that's 3, 6, 9. That's, if I'm doing my math right, that's 12 zeros. I'm not even, is Apple there? Their capital, are they at $1 trillion, I think? Yes, maybe?
Apple market cap.
I
Going
think,
to the back room.
yes. So it's a brain.
$2.9 trillion a year.
So they could actually take
2.92.
2.92 trillion?
Yes.
So they could support the debt service for 2 years, maybe 3.
If they sold everything and paid that, yeah.
Yeah. Then we'd have no Apple phones, or Apple anything. So that's what we talked about. So, for those of you that are looking at retirement planning, do not poo-poo your advisor if they suggest buying a life insurance policy, because it ain't about their commission, and if it is, then you shouldn't be working with them. It should be about, is this going to help supplement your 401k if something should happen? Is this going to help maintain your surviving spouse and or your family's lifestyle? There's a lot of families, as you know, Sean, that have kids that are in their tweens or teens or even earlier than that. Life insurance is not just about young people. And I would go one step further. I know $1 million sounds like a lot of money, folks, and on its face, it is. Except if you're buying that life insurance policy to help maintain somebody's lifestyle, that's only $50,000 a year for 20 years. 20 years, and you're out of money, assuming no interest, no growth, no nothing. You just put the money in a pillowcase and you took 50 grand out every year. You're out of money in 20 years. So, and if you measure that and you look at $50,000 in today's dollars, while that may seem like it's okay money, and for some it might be, I want to put that in some perspective. My dad would tell me when I was younger, he would say, Bill, when your mother and I got married, and they got married in 1959, they've since passed away, both of them, they could live, my dad said if he could make $10,000 a year, Sean, $10,000 a year, they could do anything they wanted to in 1959.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't live in a box in Lower Wacker Drive for $10,000 a year right now.
Not right now. Mm-hmm.
And so $50,000 may or may not be livable wage for argument's sake is $15 an hour. At least that's what the pointy heads on TV talk about. That's only about $34,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And you're not living high on the hog. You are paycheck to paycheck, unless you're living in a more rural area or a more economically challenged area. The place where we live up in Lake County or McHenry County, good luck living on $35,000 a year. Is it doable? Yes, but you're certainly, unless you got lucky and you had a whole bunch of money to put money down in a house, it's not likely that you're living in a house that you can grow into, unless you're going to, somehow figure out a way to go from $35,000 to $100,000 over time. So $50,000 might sound like a lot of money, but over 20 years and you pass away at 30, at 50, you're out of money. So life insurance should not be poo-pooed, and certainly $1 million on its face sounds like a lot, but I would tell you right now, I think people should be considering, depending on their circumstances and what they can afford and how old they are, probably $2 million, especially if you're younger. If you're our age, Sean, maybe $1 million is enough because you might have enough assets set aside to carry the day. So I just want to put that in some perspective because we're going to go into what the title of the show was tonight was Guaranteed Streams of Income for Life. And as I like to say, Sean, our byline is we protect your life, we protect your health, we preserve your wealth and guarantee an income for the rest of your life. And I couldn't say it if it weren't true. And it's absolutely true with a particular product. But let's put some things in perspective first. Most of the discussion that you hear on TV or radio is about how to grow your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where to put it, what stocks to buy, or what bonds to put, what your distribution should be in stocks, bonds, and money market, or growth or value or international, or name your whatever. How many people do you think, Sean, actually understand how a mutual fund works?
They probably don't know how it works, other than maybe just the base that there's a philosophy, like it's stocks, it's bonds, it's balanced, and that it buys stocks and bonds from different issuers. Probably about it.
Yeah, no, my kids all have a mutual fund. I won't say what company, very good company. And they got 1099-R forms this year because these aren't retirement plans. These are savings accounts essentially. And they're like, why am I paying taxes? I said,
you
well.
probably got a 1099 INT.
Or an INT.
DIV, right?
Yeah.
R would be retirement, sorry.
Right. It's INT. So that, like, Dad, why am I getting this, well, first of all, they didn't know. I had to open up the mail because they're not home. And I'm like, you got a 1099 from so-and-so mutual fund company. Why am I paying taxes? Well, and that's when I had to explain to them. I said, look at a mutual fund as if it's a sandbox, and every pebble of sand in that box is a stock. And that fund company is managing that sandbox. And every now and then, they're going to buy something and they're going to sell something. And when they sell, they have to pay a gain. They might take a loss, which is helpful to you maybe, but certainly if there's a gain, you're going to pay tax on the gain. Even though you really didn't realize it, you're going to pay tax on the gain. And that gain was reinvested, whether it was a dividend or a capital gain or whatever, it was reinvested. And then there's dividends, which are income that is kicked off from other stocks that they might own. And so they both had capital gains and they had dividends. So I could just see through the phone their eyes watering. I don't understand why I'm paying taxes. Well, This is how they work. You don't own one stock, you own a whole bunch, and it happens to be in this mutual fund. And when they make a sale, it's done. I had a client one time, he owned some mutual funds, and he went to sell it and move it somewhere else, and he got a capital gain out of it. He was not happy with me because I didn't explain it to him. I understand that to some level. But I said, it's just like going on stock. You sold the stock, so you got to pay a gain. Oh, well, that doesn't seem right. No, that's right. That's how it works. So I know there's a very famous company out there that says we make money when you make money, right? So
I'd be familiar with them.
Yeah. So let me just draw this out a second. So let's say you have $1 million, Sean, in your portfolio, and the market gets corrected and you lose 10%. How much money do you have?
$900,000.
And let's assume the fee that they're charging is 1%. How much money are they making now after you're down to $900,000?
900.
They're making 9,000 a year, right?
1% of 100,000. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so,
1% of 900,000.
Yeah, it'd be nine. So it'd be it'd be 1% for that if you paid it all at once. Yeah,
Right.
they get their 10% of 90,000 or 900,000. Sorry, I forgot a zero.
That's okay. Carry the one.
Why are debts so high?
So you lost 100 grand. They only lost 1,000. Who's sad? Who's more sad, you or them?
Me.
Oh yeah.
They lost 1% of what, the 100,000 they gave up, so $1,000, but
Yeah.
I lost. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 1,000 annualized. So to them, they lost $100 maybe. You lost in real terms 100 grand. Easy, easy peasy. So this is not to beat them up. This is just a fact. That's the deal. And people that have money and using in the market or using advisors or not, those are the risks, and I'm fine with it. I am one of those people, so and I don't have a problem with that. But some of that side of the population are visceral about using other methods to generate income. Oh, you can do the 4% rule or the 5% rule. Okay, maybe. But what if we experience another 2008 and your $1 million portfolio drops to $500,000? Are you still following the 4 or 5% rule now? Or is it more like the 10% rule to maintain? And if it's 10%, you're going to run out of money. So this is not to poo-poo the thing, but this is a strategy, folks, that it's not just one thing that you're wanting to consider. It's a total picture of what you need. So I've always said that the pool of money you have is an ego thing. You need to be congratulated if you're at $1 million or 2 or 10 or whatever. Congratulations, you did the hard work, and you've made a huge dent in your ability to maintain a retirement lifestyle. Recognizing that it's certainly not going to all go away, but markets are volatile, and unless you've got things positioned the right way, you will. It won't be a matter of if you're going to lose. You will lose money at some point in time. And how is that going to impact your lifestyle if something like that happens? So when you're considering retirement income, and we're at the bottom of the hour, we're going to go to a break here in a second, you want to consider an overall strategy, not just take one of, I need, if I can get $80,000 a year, I'm happy. Well, we're going to get to break that down in a second. And with that in mind, we're going to go to break here, Sean. Any comments before we go to break?
Nope, ready to go.
All right. Well, this is 101.5 FM, WLCB, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. That's Sean. I'm Bill. We'll be right back after these short messages.